Welcome back to A Closer Look. My host is Lieutenant Scotty Carrier with the Johnson City Police Department. We were talking about scams and we discussed home repair projects and that sort of thing, but there's all kinds of scams out there, really.
Yes, sir. There's one that deals like with gas money. I've had this happen even to myself at my house. I live in a cul-de-sac, but a gentleman came and knocked on my door in the wintertime wanting money to help he and his family get back to Kingsport. They need $20 gas money to get back to Kingsport. But what was funny about that, I could look out and see his car, and it was during the wintertime, and I could see off of the muffler, I could see the smoke coming out. And I said, well, if you're almost out of gas, why is your car running so? But he didn't get $20 from me.
Right.
But you can watch for something like that. Or there was one that was going around about, you would get a call that said, we have a family member in jail in Mexico. You need to send us money. I know I was on a call, this has been 3 or 4 years ago in Johnson City, where a woman actually was out. It was over, I think it was close to $40,000 that she finally got into this before she realized that this isn't. No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. That was actually on a gifts sweepstakes winner. She gave like $30,000 or $40,000 only to figure out, okay, I've been scammed. The other folks on the jail scam, they were out $5,000 and then figured out that it's not true. So just be very careful when you're dealing with somebody on the phone. Again, don't give out any personal information. Anything. And another one that goes around in the spring is IRS. Calling you, hey, I had that one too. You're getting back $9,000. Aren't you excited? Yeah. Well, the bottom line, if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
And people, I mean, it seems like every day they're coming up with a different scam.
Sure.
And even though they're pretty much along the same lines, they use a little different alternative way of approaching people, I guess.
Sure, and I'll tell folks, just use your instincts. If your instinct is that something's not right here, then just hang up, or certainly don't give out, and we can't stress this enough, don't give out any personal information that they could use. Credit card information, Social Security information, banking account information. Don't give any of that out if it is an unsolicited call that comes into you.
And I guess, you know, you're talking about security issues and that sort of thing. You try to protect your credit card and your
Right.
information as far as financial information, but that's a tough thing to do nowadays.
Sure, absolutely, especially with the internet and the way that people can have access to your information. So any type of security system that you can put that can help guard that, obviously, you need to take advantage of that.
And then I'm sure you're seeing a lot, I know around Kingsport, it seems like there has been a lot of folks getting the credit card information, making like a skim of the credit card and going around and making purchases, and it's you know, people lose thousands of dollars.
Sure, absolutely. The world doesn't lack and the Tri-Cities doesn't lack for people that will try to do anything possible to scam you or defraud you if they can.
Let's talk about home car protection, some of the things that folks can do. I know especially during the shopping months that are heavily looked at among like the Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday and that sort of thing. People just really need to be alert of their surroundings, I guess.
Yes, sir, absolutely. The focus that we want for people to take, or the mindset, is harden the target. Crooks are looking for easy targets. You need to do all that you can to harden the target. And what we mean is this. Number one is lock your doors. If you go shopping or even in your driveway, lock your car doors. I'll tell you this, back when I was a patrol sergeant having to review the auto burglary reports that would come in, 80 to 90% of the time it was through an unlocked door, and we were getting guns stolen, computers stolen, money stolen out of unlocked cars. Now, as a patrol officer, if I'm out and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm shining my light around in your neighborhood trying to be a deterrent, what we're looking for is things like broken glass. Okay, that lets us know there's somebody that broke into your car. We need to see, maybe we can get a track, a canine track. We may be right behind them. They may be 2 or 3 hours down the road, and we won't be able to catch them. But we might also be 2 or 3 minutes behind them. But if you don't lock your door, they open it, get their stuff, we can come in behind them 30 seconds later and have no idea that that even happened. And think about this too, when you go shopping at the mall or wherever you go shopping at during this time, if you see somebody in a car, but there's no sign of forced entry, anybody, the police, a citizen, you think, well, that's that person's car. They might be in there stealing, but they're just in it. Now you see somebody there with a pry bar trying to get in a car or something, okay, that's suspicious, so you'll call 911. So just things that will harden the target, like locking your, don't keep your valuables inside your car where they are visible, and just make sure that you lock your doors wherever you're at.
Now, neighborhood watches are always a good deterrent, I guess, because folks live right there. They know what is normal and what is not normal.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I don't know your community better than you know your community. You know who belongs there, who doesn't belong there. And so whenever you see an individual in your community that you think, I've never saw him or her before, and that just something looks suspicious, you need to call 911 because you need to trust your instincts in something like that. So we rely upon the community. As part of our mission statement in Johnson City, it says in partnership with the community. We're good at being reactive, okay, but we need the community to help us in being proactive and knowing, okay, this is suspicious. I've never saw this car before in my community, and they're just parked at my cul-de-sac, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. That's suspicious, and we need to know about that.
And then folks can form their own little neighborhood watch group.
They can if they would like, but that requires them to do that. Now, what we will try to do is facilitate that. We don't go in and start it up for you, but if you get enough of the members of your community that say, hey, we want to do some type of neighborhood watch program, it doesn't mean that they have to be on every night patrol within their community, but just something where they protect themselves. They can have a system set up. We will help come in and educate them and help in facilitating that process then.
Watch orders, what does that involve?
Watch orders are like if you're going to be out of town for vacation for a week, you can call the Johnson City Police Department. I assume Kingsport probably has the same thing. And they'll send an officer to you, they'll record your information, your emergency contact information, and then each shift an officer will come by and check your house to make sure that everything's okay. Now that is you're assigned a number on that because we know that scanners are out there. We don't want to say that we're out at 123 ABC Avenue on a watch order. Now if a crook has access to a scanner, might hear that, and know, okay, we hit that, but we're assigned a number and we'll say we're out on number, ABC 123 whatever, and so we'll check that and make sure that everything is secure at least at that time during your shift, and it's just a way to ease your mind, and also it helps us to keep an extra eye on your place and while you're gone.
It's always a good thing because it doesn't cost anything.
It's free.
And the fact that you get some protection while you're out of town and some peace of mind.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Community involvement, I know that you have the Explore program, and how has that gone so far? I know you probably all had it around for a long time.
It's been around for a very long time for us. We've got a very successful Explorer program. We've hired some of our police officers out of the Explorers program. It's designed for individuals that are 15 to 21 years old who are thinking about a career in law enforcement. It lays a good foundation for them to say, okay, this is what really goes on in law enforcement. Everybody, well, most people, I will say, watch television, so they get that concept of what goes on in law enforcement. But true law enforcement work is so much different than what you see on television. The Explorers program lays a good foundation for that, to show you, okay, here's how you process a crime scene. Here's, your shoot, don't shoot situations. They go through different scenarios, domestic violence and how you handle things. So it's very good in that regard, and if you're interested in that, it's for 15 to 21-year-olds. You think you might want a career in law enforcement, we strongly encourage you to contact us, and we'll see if we've got an opening for you then.
And I'm sure it builds a lot of stability in the kids that participate in this program, shows them discipline and that sort of thing.
Discipline, being a part of a program, ownership. They have competitions. I know we had a competition back in February down in the Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area that they go to, and they go through different scenarios, and they get graded on that as to how well they perform. So it's also teaching you team building. And you have to have that in law enforcement. You have to be able to function as a team to do your job properly.
And you have to rely on your partner. because,
Absolutely.
that's the guy that's helping you get home at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Junior Police Academy, what age group is that, and what does that involve?
Okay, on the Junior Police Academy, that's 15 to 18-year-olds. That's going to be held this year, July 10th to the 14th in Johnson City. We do this every summer. It's designed for kids who are just kind of, for example, my children went to it. They're not in law enforcement or anything, but they went to it a few years back when they were in this age group, just to kind of get an idea of what do you do when you're a police officer. So I'll give you an example. They had a crime scene scenario set up for them that they kind of walked them through, and I think they did like a collage or something of a footprint, and so it just kind of gives them an idea. It's not nearly as extensive as the Explorers program, but it does give your teenager just a kind of 1-week crash course on some of the law enforcement skills that we have to utilize. And two, it may plant a little bit of a seed to where, hey, this is kind of neat, and I think I might want to do it.
in
Sure,
doing it. Exactly.
Absolutely.
The Citizens Police Academy is one that's dear to my heart because I was in one of the first the first class at Kingsport Police Department held, and it really opened my eyes a lot. And I'm sure that this helps the community see what it is like being a police officer.
Yes, we're currently having our 46th Citizens Police Academy, so it's been a very successful program for us, but it's exactly like you said. It puts the citizen in the position of being the police officer. They learn some of the knowledge that we have to do the job, but then you get put into, like in our FATS room, you get put into a position where you've got the gun. Are you going to shoot or do you not shoot? And it's a whole lot different when you're critiquing somebody's activities that they had a second to make a decision, and you're watching it and hitting the repeat button and the repeat button and the repeat button over and over again to determine, was that good or was that not good? It brings you certainly a new appreciation for what a police officer decisions that they have to make in a split second that can literally be life-altering for them as well as for somebody else.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, it gets down to the point where, you've got to make that decision, and whether it's right or wrong, you've got to make it and stand by it.
And live. What the word that we always use when we talk to our officers is, whatever decision you make, at least it's got to be reasonable.
Right.
Okay, it may not always be the correct decision because you have to make it within a second, and all of us are capable of mistakes, but at least has to be a reasonable decision to where when people go back and look at it, your peers along with the community can say, even if it was wrong, they can at least see why you made that decision because it's based upon reasonableness. Now, hopefully we're going to make a whole lot more correct decisions than we do wrong ones, and I believe anecdotally that is indeed the case. But there will be times when something may go askew, but we always preach to our officers, it's got to be reasonable, whatever it is that you do.
Well, listen, I do appreciate talking with you, Lieutenant Scotty Carrier with the Johnson City Police Department, giving us a whole new perspective of what goes on there, as well as the fact that safety this summer is very important. Watch the motorcyclists and keep everybody safe, and let's make it a traffic accident-free summer.